If you're trying to shoot a deer, a buck deer, through a 2x10, you will not kill the deer.
Through a 2x10 lengthwise.
Lengthwise.
This way you'd probably still get them. Welcome to MeatEater Experiments. Today, Clay Newcomb and I are going to test, is there really such a thing as a brush gun? We've got multiple calibers lined up. We're gonna shoot through a medium that we've made up that's gonna replicate brush the best we can and just see if we get bullet deflection or if some bullets do better than others.
There's this idea that a heavy and slow bullet will deflect less when going through brush. And that's what we're gonna try to decide if it's real or not.
Exactly.
Because it's completely anecdotal.
But I've heard the same things you have. And if possible, even round nose. Part of this idea of a brush gun is that like a round nose bullet is gonna deflect less than a pointy bullet. All right, so brush comes in many forms, many sizes. It could be sagebrush, like the stuff all around us here now. You could have willows. What's common brush you would shoot through in Arkansas?
Oak brush.
Oak brush. Laurel.
Laurel
Right,
thickets.
small, tightly growing red maples.
Greenbrier, a lot of guys you'd be shooting through greenbrier in the
Sure.
fall.
So to replicate shooting through brush, we built this contraption that's gonna hold 1/2-inch dowels vertically right next to each other in a straight line, and so we can replace these. So once we shoot through and you hit one and it busts the one next to it, we can replace 2 or 3 of them and it's gonna be the same every single time. Brush comes in many different sizes and shapes. If we take this and just stack this up, I can't guarantee you that every time I shoot, I'm gonna get the same hit on this brush. Half the time it's gonna find a hole in the brush and not hit anything at all. Okay, so again, we're looking for consistency. If you do hit a chunk of brush, what's gonna happen to your bullet? How much is it gonna deflect? Behind the simulated brush of 1/2-inch dowels, we're gonna have a life-size deer target that's put on a 4x8 sheet of plywood so that we can see how much deflection happens after the bullet passes through the dowels. So Clay, I figured as a starting point, we would start with the brush 1 yard in front of the buck. My guess is that this distance is gonna be very little deflection.
Right. Because that bullet's flying 2,700 feet a second and has 1 yard for its
I mean, it's gonna have to have a major deflection, a big time angle change for it to actually miss the deer. All right, so I got the 30-30 carbine, which is like the classic brush gun from where I came from. Brought a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's because it is so popular these days. Someone's gonna have to, make the decision, should I shoot through brush with my 6.5 Creedmoor or not? Right. We got a 308, which I think is a very common brush gun just because so many people carry that caliber in the deer woods. And for that one, we have 2 different bullets. So we have like a pointed tip, a ballistic tip AccuBond, and then we have a round nose bullet, which again is supposed to do better than the ballistic tip, right? Yeah. Then we have a 300 Win, which to me is gonna be a nice comparison to the 308 because we're gonna have a big time velocity jump. So is that extra 400 feet a second gonna make a difference? Oh, I forgot, 20 gauge shotgun. We're gonna shoot a slug.
A slug. Yeah, no, that'd be a good brush gun. People would think it would be.
I think so. Then, just for funsies.
There's more?
There's more. We have a 50 BMG. So tell me, out of all of that, not counting the BMG, because that's pure novelty, which one of those is gonna perform the best?
The heaviest, fastest is gonna perform
Heaviest,
the best.
fastest?
Heaviest, fastest. You're talking to a guy who took entry-level college physics and stepped out of the class when he was guaranteed a D. So I have a pretty strong understanding of physics.
Okay, but you're going against the general grain of brush gun thinking, which you told me earlier was heavy and slow.
Well, I think the slow is not part of my doctrine on it, just heavy.
Heavy.
So I think heavy and fast is gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the further that the target is away from the brush, the more deflection. Just period.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. We'll start here at 1 yard and see what happens.
It's gonna be good.
You pretty good with iron sights?
Yeah.
You wanna
Sure.
kick us off here?
Yeah. I don't know that I'm pretty good at iron sights.
You're great.
Well, I'm good enough.
Big old buck, Clay, kill him. He's at least a 140.
He's in the brush. Oh wow, dead centered it. Look at that.
Center punch the dowel. And it looks like you hit high. So it's high on the deer. I think you would have killed him, would have been high lungs. You did a good job of varying your shot placement, because like that one is just hanging left a little bit. Last one was center punch in the hole in the gap, and then you had one straight through a dowel.
It's tough to do that with
iron sights.
Yeah, that distance. But yeah,
you're probably one of them guys that could shoot a testy off of a mosquito at 100 yards. But yeah, the only interesting thing on the target there, it seems like there was, if any, deflection, not much at all. But the one hole is quite a bit bigger.
One hole is twice as
big. And so the bullet is definitely turning, tumbling, or maybe just deformed a lot more than the other two. All right, so now we'll try the 20 gauge slug. Something caused a little shrapnel back there.
That thing's knocking some dowels out. That's our brush gun right there. Oh.
Uh-oh. I knew that was gonna happen at some point with this sucker.
That's the brush gun of the century right there. Brush gun of the century, 20 gauge with a slug. Totally smashed our whole apparatus down there. We're on plan B.
It's interesting. Where'd the slug
I'm just glad I didn't do that. I'm very glad Janis did that, not me. If you're trying to shoot a deer, a buck deer, through a 2x10, you will not kill the deer.
Through a 2x10 lengthwise.
Lengthwise.
This way you'd probably still get it. I think we can rebuild. All right, we shot the 30-30 3 shots. We shot the 20 gauge slug 3 shots. Unfortunately, the third one we hit the actual frame. Because we're not seeing really any deflection at 1 yard, fortunately, right? We haven't seen any deflection. So we're gonna skip doing 3 shots per gun. Now we're just gonna go to 1 shot per gun just so we can move through this a little bit faster. If we see some deflection, we'll shoot more. But this way, we're just gonna at least shoot 1 shot, make sure that all the guns are kind of performing the same at 1 yard, brush to target, and then we're gonna move it back.
Now, and then this is our first bullet that is a ballistic tip bullet.
Right.
So we'll see if that has some
might
impact, which it surely does. All right, fire in the hole, boys. Hit to the side of a dowel. Oh, looks like we got some pretty significant tumblage. All right, Janis, just try not to hit the frame this time, bro.
I am low. Like that one didn't look like it tumbled as much, did it?
It did, look, it did.
Did a little bit?
Yeah. So we're shooting the 300 Win Mag, which I predict is gonna be the best brush gun that we have, other than the 50 caliber BMG.
You guys ready?
Faster, heavier.
Get this in slow-mo.
I think Clay's hypothesis on the 300 Win Mag might be dead on.
Yeah. So fast and heavy is better than slow and heavy.
Yeah, I think slow and heavy. The slow just got connected to the heavy.
Because most people have a heavy bullet and it shoots slow.
I mean, but with the 300 Win Mag, you're shooting a Magnum cartridge, a lot more powder, so it's going fast and heavy. All right, y'all ready? Everybody ready? Fire in the hole. Fire in the hole.
Feel good about that?
I think so. Split the dowels and is like in the dead center of the kill. 6.5 man bun. I have no doubt that that bullet's doing all kind of crazy stuff, but there has not been meaningful deflection at 5 yards.
Which I'm surprised.
Yeah, I kind of thought with what we were seeing at 1 yard, that by the time you were at 5 yards, you'd be seeing 6-8 inches of deflection, but it appears that we're not seeing that kind of movement. Some movement, but not that kind. Well, I feel like what we're learning is that a little brush in front of the deer, no big deal. Shoot.
It kind of seems that way.
It appears that it's just not that significant, which isn't terribly surprising, but kind of gives some reassurance.
Yeah.
Let's move it back to the other side of that sagebrush, which is gonna be 20, 25 yards, and shoot and just see what happens.
Yeah. That's 3 holes.
There. So, I mean, I was hitting the same spot.
Yeah.
The dowels, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because your group on the dowels is like this.
Yeah. So they're 8 inches, 9 inches apart.
Yeah.
Here, and here. But oddly, I probably would have killed the deer with every shot.
Yeah.
Okay, you still would have killed the deer, but you're 5 to 6 inches northeast of where you were. Oh yeah. So the shot was here, here, and here. So it's definitely, there's some deflection going on, pretty significant.
Yeah.
So that's,
that's 9 inches from the, center-ish of the top of the heart.
Yeah.
Right? 9, 10 inches. So it's definitely enough of an impact shift that, it would give me pause.
For sure.
All right.
Two shots were in the kill. I think one shot was way off. That bullet was coming in sideways.
Oh yeah. So 25 yards, we're getting enough deflections so far with all the guns that I wouldn't take that shot.
Yeah, this experiment has limitations.
Big time.
Massive limitations.
Yeah.
Massive variables.
Massive.
But from what I've seen, I don't know that there really is a brush gun.
No. All right, just for funsies, one thing to throw it off a lot would be to just, let's pack that behind the dowels, in front of the dowels, let's pack it full of sage.
Yeah.
And just see if adding more brush makes a crazy difference.
Yep.
Then let's take that 50 BNG and put it through there and see, will that deflect a 50?
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
You're saying I got too much brush in here now?
I'm just saying it's not realistic. Like no one would ever shoot through that much brush.
you didn't say this on camera, but you said, and I think we should talk about it, there's a sliding scale.
Right.
If the buck was standing right here,
yeah, and I was right here,
and he was a 200-inch buck, you're telling me you're not gonna shoot? I am.
Right.
I'd shoot any size buck. If he was only this far away from that much brush, I'm shooting.
Okay. It's gonna do more than the dowels, because the dowels, it's interfacing with one plane. Here, it's gonna be interfacing with.
It's gonna hit a lot more.
It's gonna hit hundreds of things.
Let's see.
Obviously they're smaller, but yeah.
What caliber should we shoot now?
308.
308?
Ballistic tip.
Ballistic tip, I like it.
Fire in the hole! Missed him. Yanni, you shouldn't shoot through that much brush, okay, buddy? The main takeaway to me is that if the brush is within 5 yards of the animal, you have a real good chance that the ricochet, the trajectory is not going to impact your kill shot.
As long as the brush ain't too thick.
Right. So I mean, if there's brush close to the animal, you probably can take the shot.
Yeah.
If the brush is 20 yards from the animal, don't take the shot.
Yeah. And I think the other takeaway is that there really is no brush gun.
That's right.
None of these calibers really shined or outperformed the other ones.
Yeah.
They were all affected by those wooden dowels at 25 yards.
They were.
The 308 was definitely affected by, sagebrush at 25 yards. But it's one of those things where you do it and you end up leaving with more questions than when you started.
Yeah. Well, but I think common sense prevailed in that if there's brush real close to the animal, you can shoot and you're okay.
Yeah.
Because I think most experienced hunters would be like, yeah, if there's brush pretty close,
yeah,
it's not gonna be that big a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that way with archery. Like if there's brush like right on the animal, like maybe you can shoot through it. If there's brush far back from it, for sure you're gonna deflect.
Yeah, it's gonna deflect.
So it's kind of the same story.
Yep. All right, just for funsies, since we brought her out here, I'm gonna shoot the 50 BMG through the sagebrush. Not gonna mess with the dowels and just see if it'll stay on track to hit the deer.
Let's do it.
This thing is heavy.
That's like a punt gun.
I mean, have you felt this thing?
That's like a 25-pound dumbbell, barbell. Yeah, that's serious.
Might be more.
It's a lot of steel.
Woo!
America's brush gun.
750 grain bullet, 4 times the mass of what we've been shooting.
How fast is it going?
Muzzle velocity is still 2,800.
Holy cow, that is smoking.
Energy, 13,000.
Look at it compared to a 300 Win Mag. Brush gun.
Yeah, well, this is the not much left of your deer gun.
Yeah.
Why do you have your shirt off, Janis?
Oh. Some other guy did this on YouTube with a big old rifle. And they had their shirt off so that with the slow motion camera, you can see the recoil ripple through the shoulder and the back and the skin. So I'm volunteering. The sun's kind of peeking out for me right now, which is nice. I'm not cutting glass quite as much as I thought I would be.
This is just like a pure stunt.
This is for our entertainment.
We just want to see Janis shoot a 50 cal with his shirt off. I'm in. Let's go, Janis. Yeah, man, let's go. Leg shot. It looks like it was tumbling though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Even too much brush for the 50.
Maybe it's not America's brush gun.